Hello everyone, I'm Kate
I'm Steph.
and we are the FND sisters. We will put in a theme tune in there at one point. We are here to talk about, on a weekly basis, FND, but we're going to do it in a way that's not all doom and gloom, because everything that we've seen on the internet at the moment, and it is a very serious disorder and a very serious subject, but the only thing that gets me through personally is being able to laugh. Okay.
That was blatantly a laugh.
Okay. We have to learn to laugh.
Take two.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. The more input we have from you, the more input we can have from the worldwide web. We're hilarious, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
We know we're hilarious. We both have FND. What we're not are experts in the field of FND. We're not scientists. We're not doctors. We can't diagnose anyone else.
Don't diagnose yourself by what the symptoms that we're given.
Yeah. If you haven't been diagnosed yet, you need to go through the relevant channels, the GPs and the hospitals and things like that, and a neurologist. Don't just look at the list of, or hear the list of symptoms that we have and other people with FND have, and then suddenly, well, I've got FND, and run to your doctor and try and, you need to go through the specific fields and rule other really dangerous things out. I think that's the biggest thing as well.
Because it mimics the symptoms of things like Parkinson's and MS.
Yeah.
And things, so you need to go through the proper pathway.
Yeah.
Not diagnose yourself because it might be something a lot more than FND.
Yeah.
Things like MS and Parkinson's show up on a brain scan, whereas FND doesn't. So you definitely need sort of scans and things if you feel that you need to go down that route.
Mm-hmm. We're just here to take the piss out of ourselves and to hopefully make your lives a little bit brighter for today. We will post websites that you can get help with FND, like FND Hope, down in the description box underneath this video. So check that out as well if you're unsure and you need some more guidance. And please make sure that you comment, that we can have a conversation all together. Especially if you've liked it, make sure that you like and subscribe, because the more people that we get to this channel, the better this channel will get, and the more that we can do this fun stuff.
We're just going to go through a few symptoms of FND. There's quite a lot. It's not just kind of like a cold and you get a snotty nose and a sore throat. It's quite complex. So we're just going to go through a few symptoms and talk about that. Want to go first?
Yeah, so the first one is seizures. These can mimic epileptic seizures, although the seizures that I have are non-epileptic seizures. Mine are more like a vacancy style seizure, where I'm not actually shaking or anything, or I don't drop to the floor. I just kind of go from this to like this, like staring, and I can still see and I can still hear, but I can't respond. Like my whole body goes numb.
Yeah, whereas mine are shaky seizures.
Yeah.
So like I'll drop to the floor, or I get like a brain fog, like a brain haze before I'm going to have one. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to get to safety. And then mine's like a violent shake, but my eyes tend to roll back, so I can't see like you, but I can hear everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, because you can hear it, but you just can't do anything.
Yeah. Like when it first happened as well, well, we'll go into we'll go into our own stories and stuff a little bit later, but yeah, so there are lots of different types of seizures. I think the memory loss as well, I think that's universal. Like, I could get in the middle of a sentence and literally forget what I'm talking about or who I'm talking to. Even like forgetting names of like my son's name or my partner's name, which can be really scary.
I get quite a lot of memory loss, as you experienced on the way here.
But where are we going again?
I'm terrible. My memory loss is really bad. Like I can't remember what I ate for dinner the day before. It's just terrible.
I can't remember if I put underpants on today or not. And yeah.
Don't check now.
No. Well, I can't. I've got a bodysuit on. Can you imagine? I'm just stripping off.
Yeah, please don't do that. Not quite yet, anyway.
We're not sisters, but we're not that close. What else? Gait as well. I had a bit of that last night, but I'll talk more about last night later on. But gait can be really hard work. That's why we both have sticks as well. Like if we are struggling to walk. And bear in mind as well that all of these symptoms are unpredictable. So one day I could wake up and I could just spring out of bed, brush my teeth, and then suddenly, boom, memory loss, or I've got to lay down because fatigue is another thing. It's really unpredictable.
Really sporadic.
It has no trigger points. Anything could be a trigger, any of these symptoms. The dizziness, because I'll go into that as well. When I'm saying
keeping everybody on tenterhooks.
But dizziness, fatigue, chronic pain. I've been having more of that lately. The chronic pain, like things hurting for no reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Pain's a big one.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, you can get up out of bed and you can feel fine, and then you can do something, and then all of a sudden it will just hit you, and you'll just be clapped out for the next 2 hours or something because you just can't move or something like that. Because obviously you get paralysis as well, where you just can't feel your legs, can't move your legs, arms. I have quite a weak left side. Like my left arm's pretty useless. And sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Can't lift anything heavy in both sides because I got tremors quite a lot. I tremor really badly.
Oh, the tremors as well.
My legs shake all the time, and it really pisses everybody off.
And
I can't eat with dinner. If I eat with dinner on my lap, I'm like this, and
the body spasm. So I tremor a little bit, but that's kind of on and off. But the body spasms, so I can literally start. I just my leg kind of goes out, or I'm like, I suddenly kind of. It's so weird. It's like Tourette's. It mimics Tourette's, except I don't have. Other people do with FND, but I don't have the tics as well. That's it yet.
Yeah, I do know somebody that suffers with tics.
Yeah. I think it's somebody else on TikTok that has the tics as well. It's just hard work, isn't it? There's nothing functional about this functional neurological disorder, is it?
It should be unfunctional
neurological disorder. What else are we? So body spasm, tics, vision and hearing problems. Now this is where it gets like a bit crazy for me because I've been known to, it mimics like hallucinogens. So if I go into a room that has really crazy wallpaper, it all starts dancing. And I kind of sit there like...
almost like a dyslexic reading words.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. That happened more towards like the start of my symptoms. Now I'm doing kind of like the neurophysio. That's kind of stopped. But I mean, curvatures as well. So say this is like a line, isn't it? I would see that as a curve.
It was?
Yeah. And it'd last for about a minute or two. And then my body would, my brain would literally then put it back into a straight line.
It'd be like
really
tripping.
Weird. Yeah, I know, right? I've been sober for 6 years, guys. And now this is happening just because my brain is having a fart.
So I've got double vision. I've got diplopia. And I have to have...
What's it
called?
Diplopia. Diplopia.
Something like that. I don't know.
What it's called. I've never heard
Diplopia or something weird. But I have to have special prisms. That's what it's called. I have to have prisms in my glasses. If I take my glasses off, everything just splits. Don't do that. Freak me out. So I have prisms in my glasses to pull it all back into one.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've never had hearing issues.
Yeah.
That's never... I get like I'm hearing sensitive.
Mm.
Like if I go into Sainsbury's or something and you've
Yeah.
got a screaming kid, a
Yeah.
trolley being pushed,
Yeah.
a tannoy going and music, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It really unstables me.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Totally agree. I've been in Asda recently with my partner, and I'm like, "Can't you hear that phone going off?" And he's like, "What are you on about?" And I'm like, "Can't you hear it?" And he'll stop and he'll look, "Oh yeah." But I can hear everything.
Like
And
hypersensitive.
that's what made work really, really difficult. You know, because working in a school,
Yeah,
in a classroom,
not great.
teaching drama, and so all of that noise just amplified, and yeah, it was enough to just drive me insane. And but again, I'll talk about that later. Talk about it later.
What's the other one? I have swallowing issues.
Oh yeah.
So I've recently been to speech and language specialists.
Yeah.
And I had to. It was really funny. She said to me, "Make sure you bring a sandwich in, and a biscuit, and a drink." So I had to go in front of her. There was a table, and then she was like here, and I was here, and she was just watching me eat the sandwich.
Oh yeah, then that would freak me out.
I was like, I was munching. I was like,
what is she
stop
thinking?
watching me.
What is she thinking? What am I doing wrong?
I know, but I've got.
Am I eating this correctly?
Yeah. At least I don't eat with my mouth open.
Yeah. God.
But yeah, she said and then I had to go to the hospital and drink some special stuff whilst they done a live X-ray. And then she put the stuff on a biscuit, and then they done the live X-ray again.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've got delayed swallowing, so my brain is telling me to swallow, but my body doesn't swallow.
Yeah.
And it like gets stuck in your throat, and it feels like you're like drowning or something. Or
yeah, well, it's cutting off your air,
yeah,
isn't it?
and some of the stuff does go down the wrong hole, so it goes like in your airways, and some goes down your gullet or whatever it's called. But yeah, it really affects like your eating. Like I can only eat stuff with sauce or liquid. Like a roast dinner is okay.
Yeah.
Or spaghetti bolognese is okay. But I couldn't have, say, chicken and rice because I couldn't swallow the dry meat. It's really odd.
Yeah.
Like crisps, I'll eat, but I'll cram them in my mouth and like chew them for so long, they go in like a mush.
Yeah.
And then I can swallow them.
Bless you. Touch wood, haven't had that yet.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, I bet.
Makes dinner funny.
I bet
it really freaks my partner out because I sit there with a glass of water and like I'll put something in my mouth and then I'll swig a load of water.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you mix water and food together and then swallow it? It must taste awful.
The only way it's going
I'm
down.
like, I can't get it down if not. He don't like it. It really freaks him out.
Yeah. Oh, the speech issues. Yeah, that's quite a big one for me. That's the first sign that I'm about to have a seizure, is that my speech
really?
goes, and it goes as if it looks and it sounds like I'm having a stroke. So I'll suddenly
really slur,
and then I'm literally trying to talk, but nothing's coming out, and I start panicking a little bit, and then I get really hot, and then I have a seizure. So I suppose that is a little bit of a pattern, but usually when my speech is going, I just go and sit and get to some kind of safety now, because I know now that I was like, right, okay, I'm in danger here of having a seizure, and you know, who do I want to be in front of when I'm having it? Because you know, we've got kids, and
yeah, it makes you really paranoid, doesn't it? Because you don't want to scare the kids.
Yeah, 100%. Makes like big trips. So say if we wanted to go to a theme park, that would be really scary for me, because it's like, where would I have to sit down to have a seizure, but without them knowing? Because putting them through trauma is like, I just don't want it to happen.
And it ruins the day as well, doesn't it? Because that's all you concentrate on.
Oh yeah.
And I think as well, a lot of people have never heard of non-epileptic seizures.
Yeah.
So they assume as soon as they see a seizure, it's epileptic.
Yeah.
And they'll call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Whereas with the non-epileptic,
Yeah, we don't need an ambulance.
you don't
guys.
need an ambulance.
Don't call an ambulance. It's a waste of their resources and mine.
Unless you've injured yourself on the way down.
Oh, 100%.
Well, that's what I mean. So if you hurt yourself on the way down or hurt yourself whilst you're in a seizure,
yeah,
then obviously call an ambulance. But
if about IBS, I've noticed that I get IBS flares, but as soon as I got the diagnosis, I went on like a really low sugar, low carb diet, and that actually helps with putting more fibre in my body. So being able to counteract that, and SuperJuice is, and I'll talk a bit later about SuperJuices as well, because that really helps with my IBS anyway. And IBS is very much, you've got to kind of know what foods trigger you.
yeah,
So I know if I eat garlic bread, I am going to need to sit on the toilet for the rest of the night about 5 minutes afterwards. So I just don't eat garlic bread. Do you know what I mean?
mine's cream.
Cream, yeah. A lot of people are. It's dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like knowing your triggers. I think
Yeah.
with IBS, sleep issues.
Oh, I'm an insomniac.
Yeah.
I sleep for about 3 hours a night, and that's it. And even that's like in 45-minute stints.
Yeah.
Or half an hour stints.
I don't know how you do it. That would drive me up the wall.
You just have to, don't you?
Yeah.
And I've tried everything. I've tried so many medications, holistic things, like trying to tire myself out during the day. Just can't sleep.
Yeah.
Even during the day, I'll like lay down on the bed and I'll nap for like 15 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah.
And that's me done.
Yeah. You see, I can't nap. If I nap, I will not sleep that night.
Really?
If I have a 5-minute nap, at any point during the day, I won't sleep at night. So I just have to force myself to stay awake all day. I used to be a really bad insomniac. Now I just use magnesium oil on my feet before bed. That seems to just knock me out. Works for me, might not work for you. Might not work for you, but that's what helps me. And then the
last one's emotional distress.
Yeah, that's got like so many umbrellas with that one. You know, anxiety, depression,
mood swings,
having to mourn your old life. That's something that I'm going to talk about when we talk about our own stories, but that's been really tough. Like really, really tough.
Pretty pants.
Yeah. Especially if you've got other stuff as well, you know. The complex PTSD that I have, and I'm seeing a psychiatrist next week, actually, next Tuesday. So I'll be interested to see what things we can do and what help I can get. But yeah, that's a long journey, and every single day is different. Some days are really easy. Next days I can't get out of bed. Not just because of my body, because of my mind, you know. It's like, God, I used to be able to do so much.
Yeah.
And now brushing my teeth leaves me, I have to go lay down, you know? So that can be really difficult. And again, we'll put some websites and stuff that can help with that side of things as well in the description underneath this video. So if you're feeling poorly, please get in touch with those people. Okay, so our own FND stories. So the lovely stuff is going to go first. Obviously, if you've got like multiple stuff, you can go into that. But primarily your FND story from like when your symptoms started to now, like how did it go?
So mine was, I probably started to notice a deterioration in about 2018, something like that. Memory loss was the biggest one. Confusion as well. I was getting confused quite easily. Not knowing what I was doing at work, or getting confused about what I needed to take to work and things like that. It was just simple things. And I was under neurology anyway, and I had an appointment. This would be 2020 now, so it kind of went on for a little while. And then 2020, I kind of mentioned it, and he went into more detail and said, what are your symptoms? So I started listing them off, and he said, well, we'll do a head scan, an MRI, and take some bloods and see if there's anything going on. And then must have been 2021, because it was just after the first lockdown, and I was working up the hospital, and my scans come back clear. I saw him again, said I had some more symptoms, and that's when he diagnosed me. So my journey was actually quite easy, compared to some that have years to be diagnosed. But I think because I was under neurology anyway, and I happened to speak to him when I saw him, I think it made it a lot easier. And then he diagnosed me with the FND, and it just kind of went downhill from there, really. And then I got a lot more symptoms, including the seizures, and that would be 2022, I reckon. And then I had my driving license revoked, and that took me 2.5 years to get back, to be seizure free for so many months. So yeah, mine's quite easy, really, compared to some.
I've considered my FND story quite easy as well. Like, say easy, it's not easy, nothing's easy, but when you look online and at the people who are still,
I've read some, and they're dreadful,
awful stories. But mine, I think it was about this time last year, maybe a year and a half ago, and I kept getting diagnosed with vertigo. And I thought it was because I'm a teacher and there's a lot of stress and a lot of noise on a daily basis. And I'd just done 2 productions, whole school productions, back to back. So I thought the vertigo was probably just triggered by the stress and the noise, right? And I kept having, the dizziness, and the only thing that I didn't have vertigo-wise was I wasn't sick. I wasn't puking or anything like that. I'd just sit in dark rooms and just try and like breathe. And every time that I came home from work, I had to literally sit in a dark room for about an hour to 2 hours until the tinnitus. Really bad tinnitus. That's something actually as well, tinnitus as well.
I've never had that. It sounds dreadful.
Yeah, mine's really, really bad.
Something I wouldn't fancy.
So I just kept getting diagnosed with it more often, and I had to take more time off work, like longer periods of time off work, and until the beginning of this year, so 2025, January, and I can't remember where we were, but I was with my partner, and I think I was on the sofa, and I was trying to talk to him. Like, we were in the middle of a conversation. I was trying to talk to him, and then suddenly, I was talking to him in my head, but it wasn't coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And then I started panicking, and then everything just went numb, and I just kind of went limp. And he was beside himself. We had no idea what was going on. And then about 2 to 3 minutes later, I kind of came to, and I started being able to talk again. And it honestly looked like a stroke. We did those tests, like hold your hands up, say purple hippopotamus, and stuff like that, and I was okay afterwards. But the whole ordeal was like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? Like, this vertigo is giving me seizures all of a sudden. Like, I don't get it. And I kept going to and from the GP. GP kept saying, it's just vertigo, it's just stress, let me sign you off for longer, and And it was actually I was under more stress being signed off, because as a teacher, when you have time off, you still have to send in work and stuff. And well, you don't have to. You just don't want to leave your colleagues with nothing. It's more for them than for us. But eventually, the episodes and the vacancies started to get more frequent. We went to A&E a bunch of times. They kept refusing to. I didn't have a CAT scan or an MRI until probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago. because they looked at my bloods were fine, and they were like, well, because of your bloods and because of your age, we don't think it's a stroke, go home. After sitting like 6 hours in A&E, thinking I was literally like, I was hemorrhaging. So eventually I went back to the GP. I had a seizure in front of him, and he was like, right, we need to get you to neurology now. Like, okay. But it was like a 30-week wait. And I was like, well, this was like a month or so before the summer holidays, and I knew, I was like, I've got to know the answer so I can tell my school so we can have a plan. So I was very lucky in that I had a couple of in-laws that were like, go private, we'll sort it. Within 2 weeks, I saw a neurologist, and he said, in order to rule the big stuff out, let's do a brain MRI. Had that the following week, and then the following week we had the results, and my MRI was absolutely clear, and he diagnosed me with FND, and then he the plan was for me to visit a neurophysiotherapist, which I've been doing. I'm now in my second month of that. It seems to be doing well. And then psychiatry, which is next week, next Tuesday. So it's definitely a journey. It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint. But had I have waited on the NHS, I still wouldn't know what the diagnosis was right now.
Yeah, well,
I
they
still
don't
haven't had the referral from neurology or ears, nose and throat as well, because they sent me there, or they're sending me there. So yeah.
Well, they have neurophysio on the NHS, but they don't have neuropsychiatry.
Yeah.
There's nobody in this area that does it.
No.
So
no.
you kind of
have
stuck.
to go private.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, when I've had like therapy and counselling before, I've always had to, you get so many, don't you, on either the NHS or whatever charity you've gone through, and then you have to pay after that. And because I've got quite a lot of past stuff to go through, I've never felt that like the 8 weeks that they give you ever really started scratching the surface with what, like my history and stuff. So second month of neurophysio, really impressed with the progress, but I'm very religious with it. I do it 3 to 5 times a day, at the right times. Very strict with it. I don't have any days off. I've done some neurophysio in when we went away for like a weekend, and I was doing it in a service station. So I must have. So if anyone was between here and Somerset at a service station, there was a woman stood in the car park doing some mad stuff. It was me. I'm sorry, I've got FND. It's how I'm getting better. So yeah, that's my story. But I mean, people have their FND stories are just like wild. And as well as that, the amount of people that are getting called liars, or they're just doing it for attention. And I'm like, I was literally in the prime of my life, head of drama, putting on plays. I was writing a film, being looked at by someone in London to possibly like put on a film.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, boom, this all happens, and now I struggle walking from my living room to the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually work now.
Yeah.
I was medically sort of laid off, left type of thing.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't function at work. I just completely ruined everything. So
yeah,
that was February this year.
Yeah.
So now I don't work at all.
Well, I am literally fighting my way to try and get back to work. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, phased return and things like that, but I'm doing everything in my power. Because the thing is, with teaching as well, it's like, I feel like I'm letting my
students
kids
down.
They're not just my students, they're my kids. Like, if they've chosen my subject to be with me for 2 years through year 10 and 11, they're like my kids, and we get to know each other so well. And because we see each other so regularly, and drama is one of those things where you do connect, and it is like therapy, or it can be like therapy. And all I want to do is go back and make sure that, especially my year 11s,
through their GCSEs and
Yeah,
things.
they're right bang in the middle of their coursework, and
I suppose because we've got kids in GCSE ages as well, you know how much of an impact it does make on the children.
100%. So I am clawing, going through all of this grueling neurophysio to try and get back to them, because that's really important to me. I'm sure my school are thinking the same thing.
Come back, we're fed up with supply teachers.
Yeah, God. You know what it used to be like in schools with supply teachers as
Oh,
well.
it was awful.
Mad.
They didn't know what was going on, or they'd get muddled, wouldn't they?
Oh God, it was a nightmare. Yeah. So that was our FND stories.
Bit
Next,
of a tangent.
Yes. Well, it always does, doesn't it? With us. Our next bit is we are going to do one funny story each of FND that we've had. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
So my funny thing that happened in the last 24 hours is we'd gone to pick up my son, and I barely made it out of the car. And you know, when I was kind of spasming all the way back into the bungalow, and I was having my, body was going absolutely, and I was walking like this. I managed to get into the bungalow, and I was just kind of letting my body go, and just because the more you fight it,
the worse
more,
it gets. Yeah.
The more it hurts. And my partner and my son, they just both laugh because I'm pulling faces, I'm making weird shapes with my hands and my arms, and it is funny. It must look hilarious, and I'm laughing, trying to laugh as well because my speech goes. And then me and my partner saw a couple of days ago on bloody TikTok, we saw that somebody was like, right, you've got to try and distract yourself. So my partner sat next to me. He was like, right, I'm going to try and distract you now. So I'm doing all of this. And then he's like, tickle, 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 right? Starts and just poking me everywhere. And I'm spasming. And I can't tell him, no, this is not great. Also, I need the toilet. So I'm like half wetting myself. I'm half in this spasm, half getting tickled. And I can't tell him no. And then suddenly I go, bam, straight into a seizure. And I'm like this. And he starts panicking, because then he thinks that he's like basically tickled me into a seizure. So yeah, he was absolutely mortified. I was just like body aching by the end of it. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, and he went, so no tickling when you're having the spasms then? And I went, no, I don't think that's a good idea for next time, okay?
As when you come around and just give him a backhand around the face and be like, don't do that again.
I would have done, but he looked absolutely mortified that he'd set off this seizure. I mean, I should have played it, really. But yeah, I didn't have the heart for it, bless him. He was beside himself. But yeah, don't tickle someone if they're having a spasm, okay? It doesn't work.
Either that or you spasm and accidentally like hit him or something.
Go at it. What's your funny one?
Well, you said about, because I told you the other day, didn't I? We got a new air fryer, and I was trying to work it in the kitchen, and my mind just completely went into brain fog, and I was standing there for about 5-10 minutes trying to press the on button, and I was just like this. I just got a bit stuck, and then I started getting annoyed with myself because I was like, why the hell ain't it turning on? So by this point I was completely irate. I think it just worked me up a lot, and I come storming through the house, and I said to my partner, I said, I can't get the air fryer to work, what's going on? He went, Steph, have you tried plugging it in? I went, no. It didn't even occur to me to look to see if it was plugged in.
Yeah.
And I went back in the kitchen, even more irate with myself, and I was like, and then I managed to turn it on.
There are so many of those moments, and you do learn to laugh at yourself as well.
Well, you have to, otherwise
really
you go nuts.
It's distressing at first. It's like, why can't I do this? Like, why can't I brain? Like,
I just got stuck in that position.
Yeah.
And I was just like that. And even then I was like, why is it not turning on? And I was kind of like spasming trying to turn it on because my body got stuck. I just got myself so worked up. I could have cried.
Yeah. And that's another thing, like getting stuck. like sometimes I get stuck in like I'm waving goodbye and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm stuck. What am I doing? And it's just mad, mad
Yeah.
stuff. But it takes like the whole thing of FND is it's your brain isn't sending the right signals to your central nervous system.
Mm.
So your central nervous systems it's either not working at all or it sends the wrong signals and makes you kind of it's the weirdest thing. And they have that computer analogy, don't they, where it's like the computer, like the screen
Is
and
your
the actual thing,
hardware.
the hardware is fine. It's just the software is glitching,
Yeah.
and it's true because it's like,
And what would you do to that? You'd turn it off and on, as an
yeah,
IT specialist would tell you to do.
I wish I had an on-off button. It would make my life a lot easier, and probably my partner's too.
Yeah. You can't talk about buttons when you're on about partners.
No, no, you cannot. So, if you guys have any funny FND stories that you want us to read out, it can be anonymous as well. Please send it to our email, which I will put underneath this video. So, this section, Snog, Marry, Kill. So, it's a little game that we've made up.
Well, my friend made
Your
up.
friends made up. So, we're going to play Snog, Marry, Kill, but for FND symptoms, okay? So the symptoms we've chosen today are tremors, seizures, and memory fog. So what would we snog, marry, kill out of those three things?
Definitely kill seizures.
Agreed.
That could be a definite kill.
Because I can't even drive at the moment. And I love driving. Driving's my thing. But because I've had seizures,
Yeah.
it's unsafe. I can't. There'd be fines and all sorts of stuff if I was driving.
It could be court, could be fines, it could be.
Could kill someone.
Yeah.
It's
dangerous.
So seizures are just not kill them. Just get rid of them because they are the worst thing, and they're the scariest thing for my family as well.
Mm.
You know, especially with the kids as well, and just really traumatic, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not nice.
So kill's done. So out of tremors and seizures, what one would you snog, and what one would you marry?
I think I'd have to.
No, hang on. Did I say tremors and I meant tremors and memory fog? Did I say that?
I don't know.
Memory fog. See, memory fog. So out of memory fog and tremors, which one would you snog? Which one would you marry?
So what would be the? I'm going to do this again. What would be the better one? Snog or marry?
I would say marry because that's one that you want to have around you for a while. Snog is just you could go to a nightclub and snog someone and just never see them again. It would be pleasant for a very small amount of time, but then you'd never see it again.
Oh God. I think I would snog tremors.
Yeah.
Because I bloody hate tremors.
Yeah.
I tremor most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as it annoys everybody else, it annoys me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm tremoring on my legs and somebody tells me to stop shaking,
yeah,
I can control it to a certain extent, but all I've got in my head is stop shaking, stop shaking, stop shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody else tries to talk to me, that's it, I go back.
Yeah.
Or it happens and I'm trying to watch the TV and it's just going mad. So I think I'd snog tremors.
Yeah. So you'd marry memory fog.
Yeah, because sometimes it's quite amusing.
Memory fog is really funny.
It's not sometimes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, until like the day that I couldn't say my son's name. That was like I think I cried actually when it first happened because I was like, why can't I remember my son's name? That's really have I got dementia? Is this the end? But normally brain fog is quite funny. Like I'll go into a room and I'll be like, why did I come in here? And he was like, and my partner would be like, you're making a sandwich. I was like, okay. He could say anything really, couldn't he?
Good. You're about to drown yourself in the sink.
Oh. Yeah. No, I would agree with those three, definitely.
That's probably what I'd go for.
Yeah. My tremors are more upper body as well, which is really annoying, but looks quite funny to other people. Like my partner and my son love taking the mickey out of me for it because they're like, "Look at you!" I'm like, "Oh, I can't stop it."
It just takes control, doesn't it?
Yeah, it usually turns into really big spasms as well. It usually starts with tremors and then it just goes like gets out of control.
Feels like an electric shock sometimes because it like really jolts you and you're like,
yeah, a bit like men when they're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Does yours do that as well? Like when they're falling asleep, they'll suddenly just go like that, and it will literally. I'm just because I have a whole routine when I'm trying to get to sleep, like, and if you disrupt it, I get really. It's like almost like hangry, but for sleep. It's like
sleepgry,
sangry. I get sangry, okay, or slangly. I'm off on a tangent now. But yeah. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick section on holistic things that people are trying that have FND that I've tried, because I do quite a lot of holistic stuff to try and heal my body from the inside out, try and, create a space where it's stress-free, because that's a big trigger. And so my big topic for this week is super juices. Super juices became a really big thing a few years ago. People would go on these, and celebrities would go on these massive super juice cleanses. So you'd literally just have like 3 to 4 super juices a day. And I kind of experimented with it. I still eat, but I have at least like 1 super juice a day. And it's all based about trying to get inflammation out of my body to be reduced. And I drink it in the morning before I have breakfast, before a cup of tea, just to set my body up, and it helps my digestive system too. So what I'll probably do is just the anti-inflammatory super juice that I do. I'll probably put the ingredients and stuff in the description at the end. And I find that it really helps me. It really, really helps me. It helps set the tone of the day. It helps my body get into kind of like a good, and I don't crave as much sugar that day as well when I have a super juice. Whether it's placebo or not, I don't know, but I definitely think that, for me, it's not a fad. I think it actually really does work for me. But just to reiterate, I've got a different body from absolutely everyone else on the planet. So if you find that a super juice a day doesn't help you, then bin it. It just helps me, and it helps my mental health, and it helps me get set up for the day.
It makes you feel better.
Yeah. And next week I'll be talking about a different holistic thing that I've tried this week, that I might not have tried before, and I will let you know whether I think it's a fad or whether it really works. Okay, well, I think that's
everything for this week.
That is everything for this week. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is like a little experiment to see what works and what doesn't. If there are things that you want to see us two FND sisters to talk about, if you've got a funny story, please either comment or email us with the funny stories, particularly. We'll put our email at the bottom of the description here. But yeah, thank you. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, if you are a sponsor, so if you are someone with a business, or you know someone with a business that would sponsor us, especially if it's Neo Walks,
hint, hint,
hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to represent you, so we can make this as big as it can be, and help more people. I think that's why both of us were even contemplating a podcast, is to help the FND community, to have a couple of laughs, because it can be so draining and so isolating. But just know that your FND sisters are here for you. Bye.